Don't know whether they're bees or wasps, but whatever they are, there's a hell of a lot of them. They're more likely to be bees than wasps, I think. But they do seem very attracted to the wisteria. So the queen's maybe sat down. I think they're bees, I don't think they're wasps. Need one to come and plonk itself on the window and then we can tell. Whatever, either way, I'm not going out in it. Behind me, on the corner of the gazebo, is a shed load of bees. They've swarmed and they're around the queen. So thankfully we've got some local beekeepers that have come to get rid of them. This is what's going to happen.
Here we are in David up in Bristol, about to witness the death of two good folks from you.
Right, just to explain to you what's going on here. These are two professional beekeepers, I'm going to call them that, and they keep bees, and you'll see they're putting the space suits on with all of the mesh and everything else because they're going to be the ones that are involved with moving the swarm. Now, to explain, the swarm is all gathered around the queen, and the likelihood is, it's just been explained to me, is that the queen is both a little bit tired, needing a little bit warmth and maybe something to eat. Meanwhile, there'll be bee scouts out going, we're looking for a home, does anybody know where we can live? And if they find somewhere nice, then they'll come back, do a little dance, and that says to the queen and the rest of the swarm, we found a lovely place we can go and get, and the rent's cheap. And that's basically what's happening. So yes, the swarm is about to get rehomed, rehoused, moved on, sort of style. And this is going to be extremely interesting, so I hope you enjoy.
A little water mist. So that's just two things that will cool them down a bit. But also, it should stop them flying.
Right.
I think it's raining.
Ah. Do they not fly in the rain?
Right?
Do they not like flying in the rain?
They're not that keen. I mean, they will fly.
They're getting sprayed with water. Just at the moment I'm whispering for fear that he doesn't find out where I am.
Seem to mind that too much. Hey.
Now the pruning begins to be able to get to them easier. Meanwhile, they don't seem too bothered. And there they are. The full swarm. On the corner of the gazebo. Wow!
Pruning for you.
Thank you very much.
I'm good, I hate chopping plants though.
we're surrounded by bees. And I'm going to walk away.
This is where they want to be. It's in this corner. They would have possibly built a nest here.
Would they?
Underneath this eave.
Alright.
Unfortunately they're right in this corner. This is possibly where the queen would be. That's it. Yeah, you can step back and take, hopefully, like I say, there's bees in the box now, there's comb in the box, there's foundation, see there?
Yes.
It's just wax foundation. There's also some drawn comb which they like.
So they like that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just wax foundation.
If it's hexagonal, it's bee friendly.
So this is just to I'm sure they know what they're doing, but this is to encourage them to draw out worker comb rather than drone comb.
Alright.
So they should prefer this to just a piece of wood
Yes.
to start with, so that'll hopefully encourage them to stay in that box. And if we manage to get the queen in the box, all of the bees should gather around her. And that
Let's
should be that.
keep our fingers crossed.
Yep.
Because
We'll wait and see.
they seem to be gathering on the corner again.
Yep.
It's all very exciting.
Patience is the key.
Like I say, the key is if you get the queen.
There's a little ball of them forming
Where?
on this side.
Yeah, that's fine. The more they ball up like that,
Yeah.
the easier it is for me to get. I want to see if they're clustering back underneath. Do you want to give me your camera? I'll see if I can get a close shot. It'll go over the focus, yes. You just go literally up over that one, but you'll not be able to see with it. No. Is it filming now? What they're doing there is they've all got their rear ends up in here on top, and they're basically saying this is where we want to be. So they open a gland. They open a gland on the rear end called the Nasanov gland,
Okay.
or Nasanov gland, whichever. And they're basically saying we want to be in this box, which is really cool.
And a little cluster about a foot from the back of the
Yeah,
box.
I'm more interested in what's going on in this corner. Can't really see. I'm going to have to move the ladder possibly. There's very few bees on here now. You say they all seem to be. Yeah, there's hundreds and hundreds. The whole top of the. Oh, have a look. Just be careful because that's a big step. Split them up now.
So they're all wanting to be in the box.
Yeah, so they're all with their bums up in the air.
Oh, yes.
They open up a little Nasanov gland,
Right.
and then they flap their wings. It spreads the pheromone around in the air, so obviously all these bees circling around detect that and say this is where we want to be. So that looks really, really good. It's really promising that the wings actually in the box. Let them gather a bit more, settle. It does look like the numbers have totally gone down.
Certainly dropped,
really
yes.
And we haven't got that big, like a ball
Yes.
cluster there. You notice they're not there.
No.
They're either behind that wood, or they've moved down into the box. So I'll leave it there for a bit longer,
Yeah, they're all standing there.
and then we'll close that box up and leave it obviously ventilated and put it down on the floor, and then gather the rest in the cardboard box. We'll fit them in. That's the plan. I'm just hoping that she's not. I think if she was still up underneath the wood,
They would be gathering then.
yeah, so it might be an idea, Kazza, to move the ladder along a bit so you can look up into the corner. And the sheep, by the way, was just in case we drop them on the floor, and then we can put the box on the floor and hopefully see them marching into the box.
Yes.
From the box is great.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just zoomed in on the corner there now to see what they're doing. One's doing the tango. Yes, seem to be a little bit in two minds.
Just a little cluster in
Yeah, I thought there would be in the corner. That's maybe where the queen was. We might have to take the box away in a minute when most of them have gone into the box.
Shall I
We'll take.
open up the vent?
What's that?
Shall I open up the vent on here?
Is the vent not open?
No. Like to be an entrance?
No, not an
No.
entrance. No, because I've got the topper jar, which is a much bigger entrance. But yeah, I was thinking if we drop the box on the floor, like that, in a minute or two,
And then cardboard box.
and then maybe cut some more of them branches so I can actually get my hand into the corner. That's too big.
Right, we're about to have a little bit of bee brushage going on, I think.
There's a bit of a cluster going on there as well.
Just where she was. Just above her.
That cluster under here has more or less totally disappeared.
Definitely walking down that.
Well, maybe we're not getting bee brushage. The cluster's totally disappeared.
I think just patience. Okay. Yeah, there's literally maybe 10, 20 bees.
Is that it? Oh, that's
Yeah.
gone since
Yeah.
I was up there. That's a deer effect.
We'll do it in a minute. Think so? Ready? Hand it down to you, good.
Do you want to pass us the deodorant and I'll squirt some up
Yep.
behind you? There.
We've just learnt this. Deodorant.
Yeah,
You get shot of the pheromones.
absolutely.
Bit of David Beckham. That's all he's good for.
Bit of David Beckham. So this is two things. It's obviously giving them a little bit of hydration if they want it. Discourages them from flying. Obviously they use the water to cool down through convection and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
So they'll actually, in the colony, they'll go out and collect water, bring it back to the hive and evaporate it, which is a really keep the hive cool. Yeah, I don't really want to.
Do you use the wedges?
Big cluster there.
Use the wedges.
Well, I can put it like that. You just want to create some shade.
Yeah. That's good.
Would it be worthwhile putting a brolly up for to shade them?
No, that'll be fine. So we just put some water on them. So. Little white patch. That's the Nazanoff gland. It produces a pheromone.
The bum's in the air, saying you walk this way.
Yep. This is where we've found. This is where we're living.
So we're quite happy with the way they're going into the box then.
Absolutely over the moon. There's very few flying bees. There's no real clusters left on the pagoda gazebo. We believe the queen's in the box. They're all fanning, saying that this is where we want to be, so that's really good. So it's just a question of being patient and just hopefully that's that. The other thing as well is this time of year the queen starts to lay less and less and less, so they start to prepare for winter basically.
Yes.
So the brood nests get smaller and smaller, and obviously the idea is that they're packing away stores to get them through the winter. So the chances of actually growing a colony gets harder and harder and harder as you get sort of further into the season.
Excellent.
In the winter they have what they call winter bees.
Right.
So the normal honeybee only lives for about 6 weeks.
Right.
So that's the normal worker bee. The queen lives for maybe 3 to 5 years. But the winter bees can live for months. So the idea is that they create the winter bees, if you like, and they've got what they call a fat body, so they can store a lot more within themselves, and they
Maybe that's what we've all been doing, creating our
Yeah,
fat
yeah.
bodies
I'm a winter
to
bee.
get us
Yeah.
through the winter.
I'm a winter bee.
So
That's all I need.
they
Yeah, I
live,
hate it. It's so much harder
live
to
for
do
months.
stuff in it.
sort of all the way over the winter. So obviously the queen lane goes right down, even possibly stops, and the winter bees all cluster together, keep the queen warm, keep the rest of the brood warm, and just eat the stored honey and bee bread we call it, which is pollen and honey mixed together. So they'll feed on that through the winter and just vibrate the bodies to keep the cluster warm. And then in the springtime, when the queen starts to lay again, then there's a transition from the winter bees back into the normal worker bees. Absolutely fascinating. They say the queen will last, well, potentially, sort of 3 to 5 years,
Aye.
something like that. Trying to convince them that it's raining. There was a little cluster on the entrance, so before I close it, to convince them it's raining. And I think, no, that's not rain, so I'd rather go inside. So you can see the stragglers just going in. Come on inside, it's lovely and warm.
Very few.
I'll start coming back out. I'm in a little blanket. Off to the new home.
Don't worry about the gate. Yep.
In the boot. Say bye bye.
Bye bye bees.
I'd say the stragglers will hang around there, but I think, you know, unless you say for the next 5 hours or something, that when it starts to get cooler evening time, they'll just keep whizzing around. They'll settle where they were. It's probably only, I don't know, 30, 40 bees maybe, if that. Whereas you think in that little swarm there's maybe 10,000.
10,000.
Possibly.
Little swarm.
Yeah, oh yeah, you can get.
Oh, you can get them like
bigger.
literally like.
Like I said before, you can get multiple swarms from the same hive if there's virgin queens leave, and a cast swarm is much smaller. But if you get the prime swarm, that's the original swarm, that could be huge, depending on the colony. Like I say, that's how the superorganism gives birth. So we say cheerio.
There you go. I've said cheerio.
Oh, you have
you would
already.
say cheerio.
Well, say cheerio for me, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I'll freely admit I was slightly panicked.
Yeah, it's a bit unnerving. So when you see them, a big swirling mass of them.
It was the swirling mass rather than the...
Once
Yeah.
they settle, it's
Once
like
they settle down,
isn't it?
they'll
Yes.
just have this nice little hum, and they all just pile on around the queen, protecting her. So.
Yes.